Good morning. How is everyone doing today? Um, Today we're going to talk about gratitude. So gratitude is a subject that comes up a lot. Recently, there have been quite a lot of articles in the news about recent research in the psychology industry about how gratitude is one of the main practices that can help people with their sense of happiness. And also, gratitude is something that a lot of people in the spiritual world are practicing regularly anyway. And also, authors and kind of well-known researchers like Brené Brown has researched gratitude quite a lot, and she kind of found out that the answer to a lot of kind of feelings of fear or when you're foreboding joy is gratitude. Now, the problem is, or the challenge is, that everyone is different, everyone has their own journey, everyone has an ego. And so, how can we practice gratitude in a way that feels authentic to us? And also, I'd like to share with you some of my tips for how to make your gratitude practice a little bit deeper and a little bit more meaningful to you. Because I've been observing a lot of people are posting on social media on, things that they're grateful for and how their gratitude practice works. And I'm seeing a trend, I'm seeing something appearing that it's valuable and helpful up to a point, but not entirely. And also, full disclosure, I guess there's a part of me, not all of me, but there's a big part of me who is quite cynical. No surprise that I like Woody Allen films. So because of that cynical part of me, when I started learning how to practice gratitude, I found it quite challenging not to feel cynical about it or not to feel silly about it. So I just wanted to share a few things with you in case you're one of those people, or in case you are kind of trying to practice gratitude regularly, but then you're not consistent with it, and then it kind of falls by the wayside. So I'm going to dive in with the first thing. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to comment and I will answer them in the next, as soon as I see it. So the first point I would like to share with you is how we approach gratitude in the first place. So think about it. A lot of people, or yourself perhaps, are thinking, okay, so gratitude is I'm being grateful for the clothes I'm wearing. I'm being grateful for the fact that I was able to wake up one more day and live one more day. Could be grateful for the fact that you have food to eat, for the people you have in your life. You might be grateful for the job you have or the 2 new clients you've acquired. And that's all well and good, and it can genuinely really lift your spirits up, and you can genuinely practicing that kind of gratitude can help you feel a lot more positive about your life. However, that's only the first layer. What do I mean by that? Usually we end up feeling gratitude or paying gratitude towards things that are external to us. We end up feeling gratitude towards people and things that are not within our inner world. And sometimes the more we practice that kind of gratitude, I've noticed that a lot of people end up, hi Ainsley, nice to see you. A lot of people end up attaching to external things, but also we end up attaching to the outcomes. So a lot of people will think about, okay, I'm grateful for my new clients, or I'm grateful for the clothes I'm wearing. And then sometimes we end up repeating it so much that it becomes a thing, and we become attached to an outcome, or we become attached to this external source of joy. So how do we change that? How can we deepen our gratitude practice so that, yes, it can involve external things and people to us, but also I would invite you to start considering a more holistic approach, which will invite you to feel gratitude towards internal things, things that stem from your heart and your soul and your behaviors. So what do I mean by that? Perhaps at the end of the day, you might be practicing at the end of the day, maybe you're journaling, or you just close your eyes when you're in bed and have a thought about what am I grateful for today. Have you ever considered to ask yourself, what are you grateful for about yourself that day? Or perhaps in the morning when you wake up, could you ask yourselves, what are you grateful for about yourselves? Now that can come across as a slightly confusing question in the beginning. So for example, perhaps you've had a challenging day. Perhaps a lot of things just didn't go the way you wanted to. And somehow you managed to stick to your guns. You managed to show up regardless. Or perhaps you had a challenging day and you found a solution. You were able to tap into your creativity or your problem-solving self and turned things around, or at least didn't feel like you were falling apart. What if you could feel grateful for that? What if you could feel grateful for the problem solver in you or the creative person in you? So that would be one of my suggestions, one of my tips on how to deepen your gratitude practice. So you could begin at the more external level. You could begin at the level of, I'm grateful for, I don't know, my bed sheets. I'm grateful for the oxygen I'm breathing, grateful for the fact that, I don't know, I have a wonderful coffee machine and it gives me great coffee every morning, and then start going a little bit deeper. What happened today? I'm really grateful that despite the challenges of the day, there was a part of me who was determined to give it her best or his best. I'm grateful for the fact that I've had a class full of clients who were not focusing and they were not listening to what I was saying, and I didn't take it personally because their clients have their own journeys to make. So these are some examples. You're more than welcome to share with me any questions you have or any comments you might have. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about, and this can be a little bit controversial in ways, there are some schools of thought that say it's best not to delve in the past or live in the future because you want to be living in the present. And I agree with that. However, sometimes there are some benefits to practicing gratitude about what might have happened in the past or what might be coming in the future, by way of becoming intentional about how you want to live your life now. So for example, when we experience something in the past that perhaps was a little bit too strong or a little bit too emotional for us, or perhaps traumatic, you never know, we might not be able to see the gifts within that experience when it's happening to us. And sometimes we need to allow for the sense that the emotions of anger or fear or resentment or whatever it is to kind of blow away before we're able to see that experience for what it is and start getting curious about what you've learned from an experience. What did that experience offer to you? What gifts did it bring to you? So I try and practice this, perhaps not daily, because it's not like you can kind of sit there and, wouldn't encourage you to sit and reflect on your past every single day, because then, yeah, you will become, you will kind of move away from living in the present, but perhaps once a month, perhaps whenever it feels right to you. To sit down, perhaps pen and paper, journal, or if you're a mover, if you're a kinesthetic person, just in your movement practice, get curious about an incident in the past that perhaps still kind of is in the background of your head or kind of really touched you in some way, and get curious, what were the gifts within that experience? What were the challenges? How did I react? How did I respond? Could I be grateful for a person who at that moment seemed like they were giving me a lot of grief, or that they were being very difficult? Was that really the case? Could I end up being grateful for that person appearing in my life? Could I be grateful for that challenge appearing in my life? And then could I be grateful for how I dealt with that situation? So this is another element you can add to your gratitude practice. And then with regards to the present, you could link it and you could say, how did that past experience what's the word, mold who I am and where I am now? Can I be grateful for some of those things as a result of the past experience? Then we have the future, so feeling gratitude towards future events that haven't happened yet. And this is when you might think, okay, Melanie, you're going a bit, it's a bit woo, it's a bit too spiritual for me. But actually your subconscious mind is always listening. It's always a bit like Google, that it's always there, it's always absorbing, it's always recording. So if you decided that if there's something in your life right now that you wish to attract or you wish to change, if there is a new reality, whether it's about how you want to feel or about your external world, I would encourage you to just try and see if you could feel grateful for that thing that you wish for. Imagine that it already happened. Say you're struggling with a lot of fear. Say that every day, like the world feels like a very threatening environment. Like before you enter a meeting room or a classroom, you may feel like it's a threat. So I would encourage you to, within your gratitude practice, perhaps to add visualization or writing. It's quite powerful. Or add reminders in your phone and say something that's relevant and resonates to you, that feels good. So for example, I am grateful for the person that I have become. I am grateful that I am now free from fear. I am grateful that I can now see that my environment is friendly. Or something along those lines. It needs to resonate with you, so I can't put words in your mouth. So just to kind of recap, we talked about how a lot of people are practicing gratitude at what we call the literal realm. So we practice gratitude based on the external things that we have in our lives. And by the way, those are the things we have absolutely no control of, and they are on loan to us. And that's fine. But you could be grateful for your clients, you could be grateful for your clothes, your financial situation, you could be grateful for your food, and that's fantastic. However, just be a little bit mindful not to become attached to those external things, not to attach your happiness and your well-being on those external factors. Then you can start deepening your practice, making it a little bit more holistic, by starting to ask questions in relation to your inner world. Can you be grateful for how you behaved or reacted or responded to a challenge in your day? Can you be grateful for surprising yourself with something that you've done or didn't do? Then you can go even deeper, and I wouldn't recommend this on a daily basis, but as and when it feels right to you, to look at a past event that touched you in some way, positively, negatively, whatever you want to call it, and consider, look at it for what it is, and consider what were the gifts within that experience, especially if it was a challenging one. What did you learn from it? How did you surprise yourself about things that maybe you've kind of dealt with in a different way? And then the last thing is, which is the one that takes the most faith and the most belief, is practicing gratitude towards future events. And yes, it could be about external items, external things. Yes, you could practice future gratitude towards perhaps another, I don't know, more money, more clients, or a new look if you want to change how you look, or a new car, whatever it is. But I would also invite you to encourage practicing gratitude towards a future self. You could be grateful for not letting your fear getting in the way, because the more you're grateful for, the more you have to be grateful for, if that makes sense. And it just kind of really changes your outlook, your energy, and your expectations. The more you're grateful for the internal and the external world that you live in, all of a sudden you will start noticing more things to be grateful for. It's exactly the same thing, like, you know, if you've ever bought a car or something, like let's say you bought a red car, and all of a sudden you go out and you see red cars everywhere. And this is not random. So you could do exactly the same thing for your inner and outer world. So, for those who are watching live, or if you're watching the replay, if you have any questions at this point, feel free to comment below. Or if you have any main takeaways, if there is something, if there was an aha moment or realization, or even a reminder of something you already knew and you forgot about, feel free to share with us. Feel free to share, comment below now or during the replay. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is a very, very important tip, because I hear a lot of people, whether it's people I coach or people I speak with, I hear a lot of people say, oh, you know, yeah, I really tried practicing gratitude, or I really tried journaling, but I was doing well for the first 2-3 days, and then one night I was really busy, or I forgot to do it, and I just felt rubbish about that, so I just kind of stopped doing it. And so that's kind of number one self-sabotaging behavior. That's like self-sabotage 101. So what I would really encourage you to do is do your best not to beat yourselves up about not being consistent and not being militant about this thing. Gratitude is not something you're going to force down your throat. It's something you're going to do and just practice. You can encourage yourselves to be as consistent as possible for you at that given moment in your life. And I would encourage you to find a way to practice gratitude in a way that works for you. So for example, I am not a consistent journaler. I don't journal consistently. I only journal when I feel when I feel inspired to do so. So the way I practice my gratitude is through moving meditation, because I'm a kinesthetic person. I'm a Pilates teacher, ex-dancer, so I kind of absorb everything through movement. So in my everyday routine, when I'm making my coffee, my shower, tidying up the house, getting the studio ready for my clients, I will be doing my meditation. I will be asking myself, okay, what has happened that I'm grateful for? Did I surprise myself in any way? And kind of goes from there. Sometimes it could take 2 seconds. Sometimes it might be longer. It might be 10 minutes. So try not to limit yourselves. Try not to sabotage yourselves by deciding that you have to follow some very fixed rule or rigid rule that someone else has set out for you. And find something that works for you. If you would like to share what works for you really well, please, I'd love to hear how you practice gratitude, whether it's journaling or something else. feel free to comment below or send me a message or just post it in the group. I'd love to hear that. So yeah, so before we finish for the day, I'm just looking at my notes. I also wanted to remind you that I have space in my diary for 2 private clients. So if you were considering getting a coach, getting some help in regards to self-sabotage, fear, doubt, anxiety, or overwhelm, if there is something in your life right now specifically that you would like to overcome or change, then feel free to message me or get in touch with me. We can arrange a complimentary discovery call so you can find out how we could work together. And yeah, any questions you have, feel free to get in touch. But yeah, this is me. I hope you found this useful. Please share any questions, comments, realizations you've had, and I'll see you back here again soon. Take care.